Welcome back. This is a different seed or map, or however Scrap Mechanic uses it. So I'm just starting with the view of the Scrap Mechanic workshop. Behind this tree is an absolutely gigantic building for looting. I'll just show you a better shot of it as I head towards my base. So you can see here it's actually many floors. It's 5 floors plus a sort of water tower section at the very top. It's generally got between 12. It's got 12 hay bots in it as you go through, and it usually ends up with about 11 crates to smash and 3 chests. Quite a very useful. A very useful ruin to scrap. Now this particular spot I chose for a few reasons. It gives me access to a headland, which is great for a beginner farm. You can see I only need one single bore. These two farmers have actually been knocked out of their spawn location. So there's one farmer spawning point just there, and there is actually a second farmer spawning point just here on my hill, just over the ridge. And so you can see here, I think this was just a really lucky spawn in that close to the mechanic shop. If you want to build the resource chests, it's got access to some really large ruins. Just here in this far distance is was an ember forest. It's actually been stripped back right now at the moment. You can see there's a warehouse here in the background. So this particular spawn is very useful. Now the reason why I wanted to show this as well is pinning a vehicle in the air is a good way to help control the lag in your game. So this particular vehicle has absolutely huge amount of bearings in it. I've actually taken the tyres off it because that helps as well, because the game is not doing any calculations, and it has no suspension. So this particular vehicle is configured without any suspension in it. The purpose of this particular vehicle, which I can show you in a different video, is it has a boom extension on the end. I'll actually demonstrate that. I've actually built it out of 3 different materials, so you can easily see what component is layered into where. So it's actually got pistons that drive out the timber part, and that's actually attached to the tail of the second part as well, and then that second area there pushes out as well. So I'll demonstrate that real quick. So it's actually all controlled from here, so you've got to find which one's which, because I've forgotten. So there's one of the pistons being pushed out. It's just on a switch, no controller, no anything fancy. And then the other sections expand out. So what that allows me to do with this particular machine is handle absolutely gigantic redwood trees without too much drama of how they fit on the bed or not. And the smaller sized vehicle with everything retracted is actually much easier to drive on the road, as you can consider. Didn't switch everything off. So using this as a high point, make sure my machine switched off. This is what I built. The componentry for these items is actually being made available through a modified craftbot file. If you want to get access to that, email me directly and I'll help you out. But it will change your how you play, because I've set it up so I can just craft the materials and just make what I like, as opposed to spending hours chopping down steel and chopping down all of the buildings around the place. You can see I don't have a huge deforested area. I've actually tried to limit access to that sort of stuff. So I'll just quickly demonstrate my craftbot file. So the first thing that you'll notice is there's extra blocks. So this orange one, some of these scrap blocks are added through the edit. The framework block is non-deletable. You cannot remove this block from your world. So just be really careful if you do go down that path. And here's all the parts that are added through modifying the file. So you can see I've got crazy things in here. I can craft now component kits for myself straight away. It allows me to do updates and upgrades instantly. But here's all the extra componentry. So the towers, which are in the legs down below, the sheet for the walls, all of those parts are made through a bit of careful edit of the craftbot file. And then in the interactive area, it does show all these items, so just be careful what you do craft, because some of them will crash your game. Yeah, so you can even craft a survival bag if you want, which is useful for welding to your building for a marker, like I've done here in this case. Yeah, so that's this particular one. So what it enabled me to do is, you can see I haven't got bearings or anything too crazy in the building. I've tried to keep it as flat and as simple as possible. However, I have actually tried to make a crane to my best of my crafting ability. One of the big things I found is that in order to take pressure off this bearing, and with the weight of this boom and the items, that is extremely heavy, and this thing is ridiculously heavy, I've had to build a counterweight to handle the lowering of the boom. So it's actually been a project of mechanics and a bit of calculation to work out what it all is. But componentry you use just for fun. That particular component is from a chair. This is the warehouse crane. These are the large pipe sections, just sprayed red. This component bottom part is the tower, the water tower sort of component. I've actually split it with a line to get a center point. These are the single ramps, obviously one up the right way and one inverted to give you that sort of a look. Downstairs on the ramp, that's the same thing for the large ones, and it's got 3 single ones in the middle to allow me to spray paint a stripe up the middle. This is where I usually start crafting my vehicles. I love building in my own workshop. It feels like you are a mechanic in Scrap Mechanic. Yeah, I'm going to stop this one, and I'll give you a quick view of a different spawn and build, which has a completely different feel to it. It was something that I enjoyed when I found it. I just went, oh yeah, that's a really good spot to farm too. So I'll show you that one in a minute. Hang on a sec. Thanks for watching so far.